Uh, Good evening, everyone. This is the January 21st, 2025 meeting of the Prudential Committee. It is 6 p.m. local time, 6:01. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and then if those who are able can stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Mark Lynch here.
Rampart.
Seth Burdick, present.
Ray Franz,
Okay.
present.
Public comment, if any.
I see nothing.
Yes,
No
I
hand.
do. I do, Carol Zace. You want my fixed picture? Hi.
Go ahead, Carol.
I just have had two other people check for an updated agenda, and I just want to say it's not there. So I don't know what happened, but everybody is now safe at home and not standing out in the cold.
Okay, that is unfortunate, but if you advise them to go home and log on, we will do the treasurer's report. Presumably they're interested in the Katuitt School review, but perhaps not. We'll go ahead and proceed with the treasurer's report. And as other people arrive, there is an opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Perrone.
Thank you, Mark. The halfway through the year is disappointing on revenue, but satisfactory on expenditures. We're short on both the tax collections, standing overall at about 43%, which is about 273,000 short of the December target. And the water department, which is standing at only 28%, and that's because it's a much lower budget number, is short approximately $212,000. Now, the saying in England was a jam tomorrow, and in this case, it kind of applies. Looking at taxes, the tax bills for the new tax year just went out a couple of weeks ago. And so that usually generates an influx of receipts, which, judging by last year, should put us back in line with the budget by the end of February. We've got about 229,000 collected so far this month, which is actually the budget for the month. So we're moving along towards that target, at least so far, and hopefully February will even be stronger. So it's I would say that we don't need to become overly concerned until the end of February, when we should be in balance. And if we're not, then we probably have to take a careful look at it. On the water department, even though we're very low versus the budget, the January billing, which just went out, was $920,000. And so we're anticipating that will also turn around in the next 2 to 3 months. And we will take a look at it again as each month and see if we don't catch up. The fire department ambulances are right on budget. And in addition, what drives them over is approximately $128,000 of grants. There's $101,000 of FEMA and some 28 or so of state grants as well. Those will all be reclassed the fire department is getting anxious for me to do it, so we'll try to get it done for them this month so they have a clearer picture of their expenditure. And so we'll be moving about 128,000 of revenue and $128,000 of expenditures from the general fund to the special revenue fund. In the other category, there is interest, which continues strong. Our non-operating cash balances are higher, which offsets the lower interest. And we've earned about $34,000 for the first half of the year in interest income. And that's just in the general fund. And that is despite the fact that as you look at overall revenue, it's down $291,000 short. And when I look at my cash, as we'll a couple pages back, we're probably down $200,000 at the end of December of cash, which puts a bind on us for cash flow for a while. And I'll talk about that in a minute. On the expenditure side, everything taking into account the annual one-time expenditures, for example, for insurance, for retirement, and for other select items that the fire department has to pay in terms of licensing and communication fees. So overall, we're on target, on the budget, short on revenue. I'm slowing up the discretionary things like transfers to stabilization and OPED and waiting. Actually, there's no transfer to OPED. Transfers to stabilization, waiting to we get a little fuller cash balance. Articles are operating without much exception to note, other than we have approximately $1.35 million of debt yet to take down. I'm working with the fire department on their expenditure, which is the $1.3 million of that, to see what the timing is on the debt. Obviously, with interest rates going down, albeit not as fast as I thought they would, I would like to delay that borrowing until we get the best rate opportunity that we have in the year. And also, if that fire department expenditure goes out, they've spent $1,000. If it goes out substantially, we might even be able to carry over that debt as authorized but unissued and not incur the related interest. Other than that, the article page is pretty much straightforward. Next pages.
Lisa, can you switch to the article? Are we on the article page here, or can you switch to that? There we go.
There we go.
And
you
Ray,
you see down here, if my pointer shows up, we're looking at the debt that we have authorized, but I have not issued it yet. And as I said, I'm waiting for the fire department to formulate their expenditure plans and for the interest rates to come down. And it'll be a balance that I'll be monitoring as we go through the rest of the year. Just things to notice. You notice that since we'll be talking about the school, we have 203,000 as of the end of December still left in that.
Ray, we now have about 3,000 to 4,000 less than that. We have had more expenses.
Yeah, well, I'm sure in January. I'm saying as of December, we're at 203.
let me interrupt for a second. if you can use your pointer, and the amount that we intend to borrow on behalf of the fire department is that 1.298. Yeah.
1.3.
Yeah.
In essence, what we do is waiting to borrow the money. General fund lends to the capital fund the expenditures so that I don't have to go out and borrow $25,000 for meter reading as a separate bill. I wait as long as I can to do a package of all that. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to see what their actual timing of their expenditures are, and waiting to see if the interest rates are going to come down. They've
Okay,
come
and
down.
the fire department is satisfied with this approach?
Yes, yeah, I'm
Okay.
in contact with the chair of the fire committee, and we're working together on it. Turning next to funds. The story here is, oops. The story here is this number here, the decline in operating funds. We've used up the cushion that I usually maintain, and I've moved $100,000 from our T-bill. I did this in January, so you don't see it on the schedule. We moved $100,000 from T-bills to the operating funds, and hopefully we can leave it at that and still keep that cushion in the T-bill. The other thing to take note of here is these CDs of $1 million are related to the rest of those capital items, and I need to develop a timeline for those expenditures. So when these CDs mature in March, I'm setting the timing for those renewals that will tee in with the expenditure plans on those capital funds. Really about it. The rest is detail on expenditures. As I said, the expenditures are all in line. It basically a couple of bucks under when we make those adjustments. So I see nothing of concern on the expenditure side. We just have to keep our fingers crossed on the revenue side. Are there any questions?
I have none.
Then I guess I'm through.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm sorry,
Thanks,
Ray.
Ray. Okay, then we can move on to the Katuitt Elementary School feasibility study. Very briefly recap, you'll recall from our last meeting that we had gotten only one response to our request for proposal. It didn't meet our minimum criteria. We revised simplified the language of the request for proposal, and under the advice of procurement counsel, or not counsel, our procurement advisor, sent it out to 3 different entities to see if they had interest in the revised proposal. And that was Habib and Associates, it was Catalyst, and it was Tig and Bond. As I think all of you know, Catalyst is the entity that's working with the fire department on preliminary designs for the fire department. Habib and Associates was the architectural firm that originally did the study on the Katuitt Elementary School. And Tig Bond actually was an entity that had not worked with before, but had been suggested by a member of the public. Coastal Engineering, which has become part of Tig and Bond, and then Tig and Bond looped in an architectural firm called Icon, ICON. So we're going to refer to that response as Icon. I spoke with principals of Catalyst and Habib and Associates, and both expressed interest in responding to this request for proposal. But in the end, by the deadline, they simply responded that they were too busy to respond to this, not just to prepare a response, but then to undertake the work in the time allotted. So Icon is the response we have received, and we got this yesterday. This is we're not springing anything on anybody. We just scheduled this meeting as soon as possible after these responses, so we could give them an immediate review. The members of the Prudential Committee, I think, just got this yesterday themselves. The good news is that Icon Architecture / Tig Bond has presented what I think is a very good proposal. Key, I think, is that they have on 2 occasions undertaken assessment of abandoned school buildings to determine whether they could become community centers and what the cost would be of that. So they have excellent, very recent, similar history of doing this kind of thing. I think they understand that the primary goal here is to determine costs. In particular, what they propose, which makes some sense to me, is what does it take to bring this building up to code? Structurally, engineering, et cetera, et cetera. And then kind of in addition to that would be, okay, fine, that's what it takes to make a shell. What does it cost? What additional cost might we incur if it were to become a community center or a recreation center, et cetera. They certainly have the experience and expertise to do this. They have brought in some additional subcontractors to help with estimating. Their proposal is to undertake inspections of the building themselves and to rely on prior reports, which would include the town of Barnstable report and the Habib report, presumably, whatever else is out there. Any criticism on my part might be that they seem to be a little heavy on site planning / landscape design, which I don't know that we're that far along in the process that we want to spend that money, and it's not called for specifically in the special district warrant. But they clearly have the wherewithal, and they clearly have the team and the time to do this. That was my view of the proposal. Seth, Fran, any thoughts?
I think it seems
Go
fine.
ahead, Seth.
I mean, I don't have any issue with they are eminently qualified. They have relevant experience, professional organization. The price is within our budget. Even if you strike the $20,000 roughly, or whatever that was for the architectural site plan aspect of the design.
Fran, your thoughts?
I tend to agree. I just want to remind everybody that the water department works with Tig and Bond and has for years. They're in engineering for.
Good point, Fran. I'd forgotten about that. Not the same kind of work, but we are familiar with them. Thank you.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. I'm not sure that the amount that they have given us for the cost of this evaluation is going to be what it ends up being because of just the factors going on in the financial world. I think it's going to be more expensive, but presently we have the funds to cover it, and I don't think so. I think as long as we are satisfied with their recommendations, references, we can go ahead.
Let me ask Jen Elvey now, who I believe is still on. It seems like we have unanimity that this proposal fills our needs. It is the sole proposal we have, but we think economically it makes sense and is within our budget. How would we proceed if we wanted to engage them?
Good evening, everyone. I apologize if it's loud in here, but I think we are good to go with the contract after this. If the committee unanimously agrees, I also do agree that their proposal, I believe, is satisfactory, responsive, and responsible, especially that they have had experience with other school districts and other feasibility studies. And I think they did their due diligence in finding other sub-consultants to assist in places that they might have been lacking. So if you are all okay with moving forward, I would suggest moving forward and either negotiating or just asking if that's the final price. Maybe there is other things that could be added or should be added, but just, we should meet with them, confirm one more time that this is what we're looking for and everything that we want is included in this price that they've given us, and then going forward and contracting with them and then having them start the project as soon as possible so that you can have a report ready for the next meeting for the town.
And how would we go about that? Simply text or email my contact and say we are willing to proceed as set forth in your proposal?
Yes, if you don't mind, I can respond to them tomorrow morning and just say that the committee reviewed and unanimously approved the proposal and we'd like to move forward with the contract. At that time, the committee should draft some contract language and provide them with a draft, and they can negotiate any terms and conditions that they may have. And then we can move forward with them. We can all just be in a group email thread if that's okay with you all, and then just start. They may or may not have any edits to any contract language. And then they should be able to start work within the next week or two.
All right, well, Jen Elvey, I'm fine if you draft that email and copy us all on it.
Okay.
I'm going to be out of the country for another 3 weeks, and we certainly want this to begin as soon as possible. So in terms of if we can do it by email, if you think we can successfully do it by email, that would make more sense from my perspective. But I would like to get these people on board and get them into that building as soon as possible.
Okay. Do you have any, like a standard, does the committee have a standard contract language or any standard contract document that I can go in and edit with tie and bond and icons information? Usually that's how I would do it in the municipal level. Just add the vendor information and keep the terms and conditions the same. And I could work on that if you have something that I could start with.
We have some contracts from a very long time ago when we did the heating at Freedom Hall. I can see it. Oh, Lisa, you have those, don't you? Copies of those contracts for the heating?
I have various contracts for various years, and I will have to go through them by fiscal year to see if I can find something suitable. I don't know if I have an electronic version of Freedom Hall heating, but I will, if not, I can go into the fire station.
What year did you do the heating?
Um, I'd have to, it's a good 8 to 10 years ago, I think.
I don't know if any of the files that Mike would have had, I'll take a look through those too and see if there might be anything in there. Also, I think you're gonna need a motion
Yes,
on
thank you.
this.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. We're
And also, I
we're
wonder
just
if,
trying to figure out what the motion's gonna say exactly. And let me take a shot at it. I move that the Prudential Committee proceed with the proposal submitted by Icon Architecture / Tie Bond for the Katuitt Elementary School feasibility study and proceed to contract on that proposal.
Second,
I would suggest you insert the quoted price.
And the quoted price is, who has that directly in front of them?
I do actually. $122,195.
As amended. Do I have a second?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
roll call.
Or a roll call.
Roll
I think
call.
so.
Mark Lynch,
Oh.
aye.
Excuse me. I don't know if it wouldn't be useful to reference the article that you're spending under that. Since the funds have been authorized, you're not authorizing the funds, you're implementing funds that the taxpayers voted. We can,
Okay, who's got the number for the warrant?
now that I open my mouth, let me see if I can back it up. 21-17.
Okay, let me try again. I hereby move that the Prudential Committee proceed under warrant 21-17 to authorize $122,000 and change expenditure to Icon / Tie Bond architectural firm to proceed with their proposal for the Katuitt Elementary School feasibility study and proceed to contract on that proposal.
Second,
All in favor? Mark Lynch, aye.
Fran Parks, aye.
Seth Burdick, aye.
Uh,
I was gonna
I'm
say,
gonna-
sorry. Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
go on. I don't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say, should we talk to Mark Boudreau? Since we're gonna enter into a contract and have him draft and review a contract?
It's not a terrible idea.
No, I think it's a good idea.
He probably has one. Or well, he would have language, or I never would sign any contracts without our lawyer doing it.
Is that something that you can pick up, Seth?
You want me to call him?
Yeah,
I will. I got his number. I'll call him tomorrow.
Also, do you think that's a
ask
good
him about
idea? Just to have that input from the legal department. And we,
I'll get in touch with him or tomorrow or before the end of the week, and I'll explain the situation to him and ask him to look something there, take care of it, or at least be in contact with me about it.
okay.
Or I can have him call Janelby as well if he has questions about specific language or procurement. I don't know if that's his specialty.
All right, I'm gonna have to leave that to you if I can. I'll be available by email, but otherwise, and if we need to schedule something, a call. Be mindful of the time difference. Just as
We'll
long as
take
he
care of it,
knows
don't
that
worry.
we're timing on this is critical.
Well, you're a lawyer, you know that. I don't know if that'll make a difference to him, but
Right.
That'll Tell them this goes directly from the rush pile to the late pile. So he gets
Can I would like to point out that even though public comment were not there, it's relevant. Patty Daly has suggested that the Article 2117 that Ray suggested is actually probably superseded by the May 24th SDM vote.
I don't think so.
Not in terms of the money.
Not in terms of the money, exactly. Our point is that we want to cite the authority we have to spend this money. The special district warrant directs us to some extent as to how to spend that money, but 2117 is the one that gives us the authority to spend.
And Patty is agreeing with you.
Good.
Okay. And now I see no reason why this proposal can't be put on the website. Any objection to that?
Not for me.
No, it's already public knowledge, so it needs to go on the website.
Yeah, I
What do you
agree.
think?
It is okay to go on the website. We went through its full process. It would be transparent and applicable to FOIA either way. So it is okay to go on the website and be public. And just to go back to Seth's point, I will be open and willing to meet with legal at any time. I do anticipate that these firms will have their own terms and conditions. So we should have legal involved in case there's any negotiation between any conflicting terms. So we should start that conversation now and try to get these drafted quickly, or as quickly as possible.
I was thinking,
Janelvi, if you can draft that email, it's going to go to Ned Collier at Icon, and then I will, well, yeah. Do you have time to draft it now? You know what?
Yes,
Forget
is that
it.
okay? Yeah,
I'm going to slow things down. Just
okay.
draft that email, send it to him, and tell him that we want to get a contract signed as soon as possible.
Okay, and then once Seth and I get in touch with the attorney, I think we could just put everyone together. That's okay.
That sounds good.
Mark.
Yeah.
If Janelvi has a sample contract for this sort of work that she could have available to assist our lawyer, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah, and Janelvi, as long as it's not confidential, of course.
Oh no. Yes, I have. I can find a design contract for you. I think the state provides similar documentation, so I'll just find something pretty blanket and broad that we can start from.
Okay. Anything else for the public good? Any other public comment?
I see Patty Daly's hand raised.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm glad to see this is moving along, and I applaud you all for finding what I think is going to be a good firm to undertake the study. Secondly, I just wanted to clarify in my comment that I was actually asking a question. Is 2117 superseded by the May 24 vote? Question mark. And as I think, Mark, I agree with what you said. That was referenced. 2117 was referenced in the May vote, so I think we're fine there. And then finally, I just wanted to point out that having driven to Freedom Hall this evening and seeing another car down there in the parking lot turning around, that both the Zoom and in-person agenda is still posted on the CFD website. So you might want to make sure they're both updated going forward. Thank you.
I did upload the revised agenda, and I'm sorry it's not showing up. I just checked and confirmed that you're right, it's not there. So I'm not sure what happened. Sorry you had to make a trip in the cold weather.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were trying to avoid, but Thanks for trying to get that posted, Lisa. We appreciate it. And we didn't assign this to you, but I'm hoping that you can post this icon response to the website as well.
I would be happy to if you want to provide the wording of how you want that linked.
Boy, at this point, until the contract is signed, I just think just post it.
As a response to the RFP?
Yep,
Yes,
except it wasn't an RFP, it was an
RFQ.
RFQ.
RFQ. Got it.
And you
So
can
a
say,
response to the response to the RFQ. And can you also, Mark or Janelvi, send me the actual RFQ for our electronic records, because I never received that.
Janelvi, I'm going to ask you to do that.
Yes, no problem. I can forward that to you.
Thank you. Carol Zace
course.
is raising her hand. Sorry.
Are you ready for me, or was Mark about to talk?
No, go ahead.
I just wanted, I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but both water and fire have started their next year's budget. And so I just wanted to put a request in that when Prudential is looking at budget for Freedom Hall, that they consider putting money in to upgrade the Wi-Fi system, because I know that water had trouble doing a recording this last week, and I just think it's time to get that updated. That's one request for your budget consideration. And the other is possibly to get back to having some sort of official part or full-time position for assistance with Freedom Hall, since last time you were saying Fran's not doing it and you were going to look for someone, some other company for letting people in. So maybe it's time to go back to having some sort of fire district assistant that could help with that, and cuts also help with Prudential meeting, administrative stuff, etc. So just two ideas throwing out there. I'm not part of the Prudential committee, but I know budget time is coming up. Thank you.
Just part of the answer to your question, in February, we should be, part of the meeting schedule should be a review of the current budgets of the fire department and water department. And then in March, we generally review their budgets for the next fiscal year. And I'll be back doing Freedom Hall in a couple of weeks, happily.
Okay, any other commentary?
This is just from the Assistant Treasurer, Ray. I don't know if you remember, but you were, we have an AP warrant coming out, and you were going to discuss with the Prudential Committee the refunds requested from the town of Barnstable for real estate taxes in the amount of $14,934.29.
Thank you. I probably wasn't going to be that accurate. I was going to say that we received a request from the town to reimburse them for approximately $15,000 for refunds. Again, these really aren't refunds. These are corrections to the postings that the town has made to split receipts between the town district and the CPA. Not the accountant CPA, but the community, is it protective preservation, Community Preservation Act fund. So every 6 months they rerun the Munis system, and as I've pointed out before, they miraculously end up with a different result from two systems using the same input.
That's not good.
And they're I don't want to be unkind, but their response didn't has never had a great deal of clarity. So anyway, we have a $15,000 hit to our revenue that I'll be booking this month, which further sets us behind. I don't want to delay it because the last time we delayed it, they ended up delaying our payment for the liens that they collect on our behalf, and we didn't get to include it in the free cash. So in the category of whatever comes around, goes around, I'm going to process this for payment in the next regular warrant unless you direct me otherwise.
This is the smallest one we've gotten yet, though, right?
I'm sorry,
Wasn't
say
it like
again.
50,000? 50, what, this is the smallest request for
Oh, the
refund we've
small,
gotten in the last
it's
couple
always,
fiscal years, right?
yes, you're correct. And usually the first half of the year is smaller than the second year.
And they've
Again,
never had any input as to why. I mean, we've been through it again, and they never come back with anything that's any good in
I
terms
can
of
show you, they sent me a chart with arrows and circles and
that
That's never good.
explains it. I mean, do you think I could talk to them and see if I can get anywhere with them on behalf of, like, as your town councilor, I could talk to them and see there's a and see if it gets us anywhere, but I doubt it will. But if you want me to, I will.
you can try, and thank you for trying. It's why two systems using the same input come up with a different answer. And indeed, why is the second half of the year so disproportionately higher than the first half?
And the
Right,
letter
and that's
states that it's through a consolidation of accounts that the following amounts will be refunded.
No,
I don't
they-
really
is it
know what.
the
they run-
assessor or the collector?
It's the collector.
All right.
They run the two systems. They have a Munis system and the in-house system, and they run the Munis system and compare it to the in-house system. And the allocation that the Unis system creates is different than the one that the in-house one uses. And there are really 3 points. Number one, how can the same input in two systems generate a different result without one of those systems having a problem? Second of all, why is the result of this comparison always in the favor of the town? Number three,
Right.
why is the second half of the year so disproportionately higher than the first half of the year?
Well, if you send me an email with all of those or the relative information or relevant, I should say, information, I'll call Sean O'Brien and see if I can get a better
Will do.
rationale. Who knows? It might be for nothing, but it's just we've talked about it for how many years has it been that this has been a thing? At least 3
As
years
long
that
as
I
I've been here.
remember.
Every
4
year.
years, yeah.
Every
Every
year.
single
It's-
year. No,
So Seth,
I'll look
I'll
into it.
send you the 2 letters, the 6-month letters to show you the difference and what the wording is,
yeah.
so that you'll
All
at
right.
least have it.
Thank you. Send it along and I'll call them this week and see.
Sure.
So I'll contact Comcast, Verizon. I get a lot of outage messages for 976 Main Street with great frequency. So maybe that's what happened the other evening.
Oh, one final thing from me. Sorry. My Outlook email no longer enables me to send a message from it. Secure networks cannot figure out why that is because they have no access to Outlook administrator. So I will probably be changing my email in the next couple of weeks. So if that happens, please don't I don't want to surprise you by that.
I just have a comment about that. Microsoft 365 has changed its rules for forwarding from an in-company email to exterior ones. So people using non@catuitfiredistrict.org addresses will have to start using and making sure that they can receive addresses, email from that address. That would be Mark, Charlie, Ray. And
Just to be clear, I continue to receive everything at my outlook.com. The other thing is I can send from hotmail.com. I just cannot send from outlook.com.
and also receive attachments through those that were.
I can receive attachments at outlook.com. There's no change in what I receive. There's only a change in how I respond. I'm temporarily responding using catuitfire.org.
Or catuitfiredistrict.org.
District.org. Or I can use Catuit Fire.
Yeah.
Good too.
Okay, any other business? If not, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor?
Graham Parks in
Aye.
favor.
Aye. All right, I think we're all finished. Thank you, everyone. Let us all keep in touch.